Day 47. She hadn't made a single dollar. Her savings were down to $340. And she was sitting at her kitchen table at 2 a.m., staring at a striped dashboard that just said, 0. Not low. Not slow. 0. She'd been building for 6 weeks straight, no weekends, no breaks, barely sleeping, and the product worked. She'd tested it. People said they liked it. But nobody was paying. And the thought she kept trying to push away finally just landed. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. If you've ever been in that exact spot, or you're heading there and you don't know it yet, this video is specifically for you. Because what happened next wasn't a viral tweet or a lucky product hunt launch. It was something a lot quieter. And a lot more replicable. My name's Shad, and this channel is about what building actually looks like, not the highlight reel, not the $18,000 month thumbnail. The messy middle. The part nobody posts about. Today we're walking through the real 90-day arc of a solo founder who went from $0 to $900 MRR, which doesn't sound like much until you understand what she had to survive to get there. We're gonna cover the psychology of the dark middle, the specific decisions that turn things around, and the one mistake she almost made that would have ended everything. There's a question I want you to hold on to through this whole video: at what point does persistence become the actual product? We'll come back to that. Let me introduce you to Maya. She's 28, works a full-time job in customer support, and she's been doing it for 4 years. She's good at it, but she's also been watching the indie hackerspace for about 2 years, saving screenshots of MRR milestones, reading every indie hackers post she can find. In January 2026, she decides to actually build something. Not think about building something. Build. Her idea is simple: a lightweight client feedback tool for freelance designers. She'd felt the pain herself. She does small design projects on the side, and chasing feedback over email is a nightmare. So she figures other freelancers feel the same. She's right. That part, she gets correct. But being right about the problem is only about 20% of the job. Chapter 1: The Build. Days 1 through 28. Maya uses Cursor, the AI coding assistant, because she's not a developer. She's never shipped code before. But she's watched enough tutorials to understand the basics, and Cursor lets her describe what she wants in plain English and get working code back. In 28 days, she builds a functional MVP. It's not pretty. It's got maybe 6 features. But it works. A client gets a link, they leave feedback on a design file, Maya gets a notification, she can reply. That's it. She calls it Frame Feed. She pays $12 for a domain, $20 per month for hosting, and she's live. Total spend, $32. And here's where most first-time builders make their first mistake: they think shipping is the finish line. Maya thought that too. She posts on Twitter. She posts on Reddit, r/freelance, r/design. She writes a product hunt draft. She sends the link to 3 designer friends. And then, she waits. Day 29. Day 30. Day 31. A few signups, all free tier. No paid conversions. She checks her analytics obsessively. People are landing on the page. Some are even clicking Start Free Trial. But nobody's hitting the upgrade button. She drops the price from $19 per month to $9 per month. Still nothing. She adds a FAQ section. Still nothing. She redesigns the landing page. Still nothing. And this is where the dark middle begins, not with a dramatic failure, but with a slow, grinding silence. The product is live. The world doesn't care. And every day that passes feels like confirmation of the thing she's most afraid of. Chapter 2: The Psychology of the Dark Middle. I want to stop here and name what's actually happening, because this is the part nobody talks about honestly. The dark middle isn't just about money. It's about identity. When you're building something alone, with no team and no funding, the product becomes a proxy for your self-worth. Every day without revenue feels like a vote against you as a person. And the brain does something really specific here. It starts generating what I call exit narratives. These are the stories you tell yourself that make quitting feel rational. The market's too crowded. I'm not technical enough. Nobody wants this. Maybe I should just focus on my day job. These aren't irrational thoughts. They're actually really logical sounding. That's what makes them dangerous. Here's what the research on founder psychology actually shows, and this comes from studies on early-stage solo operators, not VC-backed teams. The dropout rate between week 4 and week 10 is the highest of any phase. Not week 1, when things are exciting. Not month 6, when you've got data. Week 4 to 10. Because that's when the initial energy has burned off, but you don't have enough traction to feel real yet. It's a no man's land. And the founders who survive it aren't necessarily the most talented or the most technical. They're the ones who find a way to change their feedback loop. Instead of measuring success by revenue, which is 0, they start measuring by something they can actually move. Maya hadn't figured this out yet. She was still measuring by Stripe. And Stripe was still at 0. Day 47. This is the night we opened with. She's at $0. She's exhausted. And she writes a tweet that she almost doesn't post. It says, "I've been building a feedback tool for freelance designers for 47 days. 0 paying customers. I genuinely don't know if this is a me problem or a market problem. If you're a freelance designer, I'll give you lifetime access for free if you just get on a 20-minute call with me and tell me why you wouldn't pay for this." She posts it at 2:17 a.m. Goes to sleep. Wakes up to 14 replies. Now, 14 replies on a tweet isn't viral. She's not blowing up. But 14 freelance designers willing to get on a call? That's actually enormous. Because she'd been trying to solve a conversion problem. But she actually had a discovery problem. She didn't know what was blocking people. And she was about to find out. Chapter 3: The Calls That Changed Everything. Over the next 5 days, Maya gets on calls with 11 of those 14 people. And what she hears is not what she expected. The problem isn't the price. The problem isn't the features. The problem is trust. Freelancers are sending this tool to their clients, people who are paying them money, people whose opinion of them matters. And they're not going to send their clients a tool that looks unpolished and unbranded. It's a professional risk. One designer put it perfectly: "I'd use this if it looked like something I'd be proud to put my name on. Right now it looks like a side project." That sentence. That one sentence. That's $900 MRR. Here's what Maya had been missing, and this is a tactical point worth writing down. She'd been building for herself. She'd validated the problem from her own experience. But she hadn't validated the purchase context. There's a difference between "this solves a problem I have" and "this is something I'd pay for in a professional context." Freelancers aren't just buying a tool. They're buying something they'll show to clients. Which means the product's credibility is their credibility. The moment Maya understood that, everything shifted. She wasn't building a feedback tool. She was building a trust signal. And trust signals have a very specific design language: clean UI, white label options, custom domains, professional email notifications. None of which she had. All of which she could build. So here's what she does. Days 52 through 71, she rebuilds the front end. Not the core functionality, just the presentation layer. She adds custom branding options so designers can put their own logo on the client-facing portal. She cleans up the UI significantly. She writes new onboarding copy that speaks directly to the professional context, look more polished to your clients. She raises the price back to $19 per month, because she now understands the value proposition is professional credibility, not just convenience, and credibility is worth more. And she does one more thing that turns out to be critical. She goes back to those 11 people from the calls. She says, "I rebuilt it based on everything you told me. Will you try it now?" 7 of them say yes. Chapter 4, First Dollar. Day 73. One of those 7 people, a freelance brand designer in Austin, upgrades to paid. $19. Maya screenshots the Stripe notification and just sits there for a minute. Because it's not about $19. It's proof. It's proof that the thing she built has value to someone other than herself. And that's a completely different psychological state than where she was on day 47. She posts about it on Twitter, not a victory lap, just honest, day 73. First dollar. Took longer than I expected and I almost quitted day 47. Here's what changed. That thread gets 340 impressions. Not huge. But 3 more designers DM her asking about the tool. 2 of them convert within the week. Now I want to talk about the acquisition math here, because this is where it gets tactical and a lot of indie hackers get this wrong. Maya's first 47 customers? I'm talking about the free users who never paid, came from broad posts. Reddit, Twitter, Product Hunt. Spray and pray. Her first paying customers came from direct conversations. 1-to-1. Calls, DMs, personal follow-ups. And this is actually the pattern that holds across almost every sub-$5K MRR SaaS story I've studied. The first 10 paying customers almost never come from SEO or viral distribution. They come from founder-led sales. Which is uncomfortable for a lot of builders because it feels like cheating, or like it doesn't scale. But here's the thing, it doesn't need to scale yet. You need 10 customers, not 10,000. And 10 customers you can get with your phone. By day 80, Maya has 6 paying customers. $114 MRR. She's still at 0 profit, hosting, domain, and the time she's putting in means she's technically losing money if you count her hours. But she's not counting her hours. She's counting momentum. And momentum is a real thing. Because here's what changes when you have 6 paying customers versus 0. You have 6 people who are using the product every week, which means you're getting real usage data. You have 6 people you can ask for feedback without it feeling desperate. You have 6 people who might refer someone. And you have proof, actual proof, that the value proposition works. The product isn't a theory anymore. It's a business. A tiny one, but a real one. Chapter 5, The Mistake She Almost Made. I said at the start there was one mistake that would have ended everything. Here it is. Around day 75, while she's starting to get traction, Maya gets a message from a developer she'd connected with online. He offers to join as a co-founder, take equity, help build faster. And she almost says yes. Not because it was a bad offer, but because she was tired. The dark middle had worn her down, and the idea of having someone else to share the weight with was genuinely appealing. But she pauses. She thinks about why she's building this. she's building it to prove to herself that she can do it alone. Taking on a co-founder at this stage, before she even understood her own product, would have meant negotiating every decision, splitting every dollar, and potentially losing the thing that was making her move fast, the fact that she was the only one who needed to agree. She says no. Politely, but clearly. And she keeps building alone. Now, I want to be careful here, because I'm not saying co-founders are bad. Some of the best companies ever built had great co-founding teams. What I'm saying is that the decision to take on a co-founder at zero revenue, when you're emotionally exhausted, is often a decision made from fear rather than strategy. And decisions made from fear at the founding stage tend to create structural problems that are very hard to undo. Maya's instinct to pause and ask, "Why do I actually want this?" was exactly right. The answer was, "Because I'm tired." And that's not a good reason to give away equity. Chapter 6, Days 81 through 90. The last 10 days of the quarter. Maya has a system now. Every Monday, she does outreach, 5 to 10 direct DMs to freelance designers she finds on Twitter, Dribbble, and LinkedIn. Not cold pitches. Genuine messages: "I saw your work, I built something that might help with client feedback, happy to give you a free month if you want to try it." Her conversion rate on those DMs is about 20%. Which means for every 10 messages, she gets 2 new users. Of those, roughly 1 converts to paid within 30 days. It's slow. But it's predictable. And predictable beats lucky every single time when you're building alone. Day 90. She opens Stripe. $900 MRR. 47 paying customers. She's been at this for exactly 3 months. She hasn't quit her day job yet. $900 doesn't replace a salary. But here's what $900 MRR actually means at this stage. It means the product has product market fit, at least at a small scale. It means she has a repeatable acquisition channel. It means she has a pricing model that works. And it means she has 90 days of evidence that she can do this. That last one is actually the most valuable thing she's built. Not the product. The evidence. Because the next 90 days are going to be harder than the first. She'll hit scaling problems, churn, feature requests she can't build fast enough, and the only thing that'll carry her through is knowing she's already survived the worst part. So let's go back to the question I asked at the start. At what point does persistence become the actual product? Here's my answer: when it generates information. Maya's persistence from day 47 to day 73 wasn't valuable because she kept going. It was valuable because keeping going led to the calls led to the insight about professional trust, and the insight led to the rebuild that actually converted. Persistence without learning is just stubbornness. Persistence that keeps you in the game long enough to find the real insight, that's the actual product. The tool she built is Frame Feed. The real product is what she learned about how freelancers think about professional credibility. That knowledge is defensible. That knowledge is what's going to take her from $900 to $9,000. Here's the playbook in plain terms: 5 things Maya did that you can actually copy. 1. She shipped something real in under 30 days, even though it was rough. 2. When it didn't convert, she didn't just tweak the price or the landing page, she went and talked to people. 11 calls in 5 days. 3. She rebuilt around what she learned, not what she assumed. 4. She did direct outreach as her primary acquisition channel and treated it like a job, 5 to 10 DMs every Monday, no exceptions. 5. She said no to a co-founder offer she wanted for the wrong reasons. None of these are complicated. All of them are uncomfortable. That's the whole game. One more thing before we wrap. If you're currently in the dark middle, somewhere between day 20 and day 60, nothing's converting, you're questioning everything. Here's the one thing I want you to do today. Not tomorrow, not this week. Today. Write down the last 3 people who tried your product and didn't pay. Find their contact information. Send them one message. Not a pitch. A question: hey, I saw you tried product. Would you be willing to tell me one thing that stopped you from paying? That's it. You're not selling. You're learning. And learning is the only way out of the dark middle. Maya found her way out with 11 calls. You might find yours with 3 messages. But you have to actually send them. If this story hit close to home, the next video on this channel goes deeper into the acquisition side, specifically how solo founders get their first 50 customers without an audience, without ads, and without a product hunt launch. It's the part that comes after $900 MRR, and it's where most people stall out again. That one's worth watching back to back with this. I'll see you there.